When I stopped trying to fix everything, the house didn't fall apart. It stayed, just as imperfect as before, but somehow it felt quieter inside me. My child still had quiet moments, but I no longer rushed to fill them. I began to sit beside the silence instead of fighting it. The tension I used to carry began to loosen. Not all at once, but enough to notice. I didn't need every moment to make sense anymore. I started noticing small things I had missed before. The way the house breathed on its own rhythm. The way everyone found their space without my control. Nothing was suddenly perfect, but something inside me stopped needing it to be. And that changed everything in a quiet way. My name is Clara. I've always believed being a good mother means doing everything right. Lately, I'm starting to question what right really means. The morning unfolded like it always does. My hands moved from one task to another without pause. My mind stayed just as busy as my body. My child sat at the table, quiet as usual. I noticed it immediately, like something that needed attention. Silence never felt neutral to me. I asked what was wrong. It came out almost automatically. I didn't realize how quickly I moved to fill the quiet. I kept the conversation going, asking, responding, trying to open something up, but it didn't feel natural anymore. The room grew heavier in a quiet way. Could feel the distance stretching. Still, I didn't know how to step back. In my mind, silence always meant something was wrong. And when something feels wrong, it should be fixed quickly. That belief felt unquestionable. Looking back, I see something different now. I wasn't creating space. I was filling it too quickly. And maybe that changed more than I realized. The days that followed felt familiar in a quiet way. I kept adjusting small things around the house without really thinking. Some of them didn't truly need changing. When my child went quiet, I felt a subtle tension rise. When my husband looked tired, I immediately searched for something to do. Staying still felt unfamiliar. I used to call it care without questioning it, but in the quiet moments, it felt closer to worry, quiet need to make sure everything stayed okay. There was a quiet fear I didn't say out loud. The thought of not doing enough stayed with me. It shaped how I moved through the day. So I kept myself in motion almost constantly. There was always something to check or improve. It felt easier than pausing. But over time, something felt missing. Even as everything looked in place, I felt less settled. The calm I was looking for didn't stay. The house didn't feel warmer the way I expected. There was a quiet tension in the air I hadn't noticed before, as if everyone was trying to stay okay. And maybe it wasn't about them at all. Maybe I hadn't allowed space for anything beyond being okay. That thought stayed with me quietly. My child sat next to me that afternoon. She didn't ask for anything, didn't say a word. I noticed how still the moment felt between us. I'm usually the one who fills silence. I reach for words without thinking, trying to make things feel right. It has always been my habit. But that day felt different. I wasn't tired in my body, just something deeper. It was a quiet kind of exhaustion I couldn't explain. I almost said something out of habit. The words were already forming in my mind. Then I paused and questioned it. I chose to stay quiet. The silence felt unfamiliar, almost uncomfortable, but I let it stay. A few seconds stretched longer than usual. I felt the urge to break it again. It almost pulled me back to old patterns. Still, I didn't speak. Not because I knew what to do, but because I didn't. I stayed in that uncertainty. And for the first time, I didn't try to fix anything. Nothing was solved, yet something softened. The moment felt complete as it was. A few moments later, my child started speaking. It wasn't loud or rushed. Soft words, slowly finding their way out. I didn't ask anything this time. I didn't try to guide the moment. Somehow, it unfolded on its own. I simply listened. No interruptions, no corrections. Just being there felt different than before. Then something became clear to me. I often stepped in too quickly. I thought I was helping by filling the silence. But maybe I didn't give enough space. Not for feelings to settle. Not for the right moment to come. I believed I was doing the right thing, but I might have interrupted something important. Without even realizing it. Maybe what my child needed wasn't answers. Not advice or solutions. Just someone who stayed. A presence that doesn't rush, that doesn't pressure, that allows things to be as they are. Since that day, I tried something unfamiliar, not doing more like I used to, but quietly choosing to do less. When my child went quiet, I didn't rush in with questions. I stayed close without interrupting. Just being there felt enough for that moment. When the room felt slightly off, I didn't try to adjust it right away. I let the moment pass on its own. Slowly, it softened without effort. It wasn't always comfortable. Sometimes I still felt the urge to step in. Fixing things had become part of me. I began practicing holding back, not because I stopped caring, but because I wanted to show up differently. I started noticing something new. Not every silence meant something was wrong. Not everything needed my hands on it. And somehow, the house began to feel lighter. Nothing dramatic had changed, yet everything felt a little easier to carry. Not because I did more, but because I stopped trying so hard. And that made all the difference in ways I didn't expect. I used to believe being a mother meant fixing everything. Every problem felt like it was mine to solve. I kept everything running, quietly holding it all together. But lately, something feels different. I'm starting to notice not everything is broken. Some things are just unfinished. Sometimes it's not a problem at all. It's just emotion moving through the house. And emotions don't need fixing, only space. Sometimes it's silence. Not empty, not wrong, just waiting to be shared. I'm realizing they don't need a mother who always knows what to do. They just need me to be here. Being here without pressure feels unfamiliar. I'm not rushing, not adjusting, not correcting, just allowing things to unfold. It looks simple from the outside, but inside it asks me to let go of control, and that's not easy. For the first time, I'm not trying to be perfect. And somehow, everything feels a little lighter. I used to think every situation needed a solution. If something felt off, I rushed to fix it. Now I'm beginning to see that not everything asks for change. I noticed that simply being there changed the atmosphere. I didn't need the right words every time. Presence itself carried something deeper. My child didn't always need explanations. Sometimes they just needed to feel safe being themselves. I began to listen differently. I used to believe safety came from keeping things under control, but control often brought tension. Calmness created something more stable. I am learning not to rush anymore. Not every silence needs to be filled. Sometimes staying still is enough. I still catch myself wanting to step in too quickly. That habit hasn't fully disappeared, but now I notice it sooner. Stopping doesn't feel like giving up anymore. It feels like creating space. Space that wasn't there before. In that space, something soft begins to grow. Not louder, just clearer. And I finally feel it within myself too. That night, I sat beside my child again. We didn't reach for conversation this time. Somehow, the silence felt softer than before. There was nothing pressing on me in that moment. No quiet list of things to fix running in my head. Just a simple sense of being there together. For the first time in a while, I didn't feel behind. I didn't feel like I was missing something. I just felt enough. Maybe being a mother was never about fixing every detail. Maybe it was about staying present, even in the unfinished parts. About being whole, without needing everything to be complete. If you've ever felt like you had to carry everything alone, I understand that weight. But maybe it doesn't always have to be that way. Maybe we can learn to sit with it, slowly, together.